Clerks. This is Video Store Clerks. Welcome to the store.
Hey, everyone. Hey! Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Well, it's 10:05, but we're close. What the fuck is going on up here? Anyway, we are your Video Store Clerks. I'm Chad Quintmang.
I'm Chief Dave Brody.
I'm your elected mayor, Mike.
I'm nasty.
Happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. Whose birthday is it?
Celebrate the 50th birthday of Jaws.
Oh.
You fucking threw me off. But anyway.
Mike looks like some weird anime character.
He's the blue meanie. God damn it. I'm fucked. All right, anyway. So tonight we are doing the 50th anniversary of Jaws. We did Jaws in the past somewhere along the line, but I think we talked about the
all of them.
Franchise.
Yeah.
So we are focusing on the birthday boy, Bruce.
Hey, Brucey.
And as usual, tonight we'll be going over the news, the clip of the week, then we'll run some ads, and then we'll get the fuck out of here. And then between there, we'll talk about this film. And
Sounds good.
May or may not be the last week for the news. We are debating that, so if you decided you want us to keep the news, throw a little comment down yonder.
Why wouldn't we keep the news?
Don't worry about it. Now, just to kind of trim out some time or whatever. And then the news has kind of been shitty lately. So we might do away with it for a bit.
We'll talk.
Unless there's something worth mentioning. So let's get into it with the news.
Channel 7's got the Instacam, Channel 4 got the Live Eye, and Channel 6 got that bullshit.
Got that bullshit. You bullshitting, Channel 2.
We got that bullshit. We got some bullshit for tonight. Starting off, as we usually do, the top 10 box office numbers. Number 10, Sinners, bringing in $1.5 million this week, bringing it up to $276 million the last 9 weeks.
Finally watched it.
Oh, yeah? It's a dope movie.
Yeah. It's good. It's not great.
I think it was pretty dope.
I liked it a lot. I just don't understand why it's supposed to be something more than I don't know. I'll have a video of it soon.
I love the music.
Oh yeah, that's the best part of it. I love the time period, the music to it. It was all good. I just don't. Everybody praises it so much and like
gotta love the blues
and all this shit. Yeah, definitely, totally. Like I love that. We don't get many movies that are in that time period, that deal with all that kind of shit anymore. It's pretty cool. But everybody like, oh, it's the best vampire movie I've watched in years and blah blah blah. It's like, well, we haven't really had too many in years. I don't know. I just saw it as like, just another movie. It's not some fucking groundbreaking film.
Sure,
it's good, but it's not great. Like I don't know.
I'm a pretty big fan of Michael B. Jordan.
I didn't buy him in this at all. I don't think I really care for him much.
But I didn't know he had a twin brother.
The cousins.
Yeah.
Number 9, The Life of Chuck. How you doing?
That's a great life, let me tell you.
Look
at this face. Look at this face. If this isn't the face of a great life, let me tell you.
Fucking
a great white?
No. All right,
The Great White Never mind. The Great White Nasty just sounds like a bad porn film.
That's right.
That's right. Cocky fest. Anyway, Life of Chuck, the $2.3 million this week, counting its soft run, been out for 2 weeks to $2.6 million. And then number 8, the Phoenician schemed at $3.2 million this week. doing 12.8 the last 3 weeks. And number 7, Final Destination Bloodline, doing
Woo.
4 mil this week, doing
I saw that one too.
131 mil the last 5. Ooh, that
Loved it.
got
Loved
mine.
it. It was a
It
great
was
movie.
actually not terrible. I don't
It was
know.
a great movie. It was awesome.
It was weird. I feel like it was a stretch some parts, but the kills were pretty cool, as usual.
Oh yeah.
Number 6, The Karate Kid Legend.
Well, give Baby Huey a moment.
It did 5.2 million
It's
this
tough.
week,
It's tough when you're at sea.
and then it did 44.4 mil the last 3 weeks. Number 5 is Ballerina, did 9.7 this week, doing 42.2 mil the last 2 weeks. And number 4, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, did 10.6 mil.
Mission Impossible: Final Destination.
Right.
The crossover we
Destination.
know we didn't need.
Did 167 mil the last 4 weeks.
Cool.
Number 3, first week out, The Materialist, did $12 million. Not real sure what that's about. Didn't look it up. You're welcome. Number 2,
Isn't that Madonna film?
I have no idea.
Wait, that's Material Girl. Never mind.
No idea what it would be about. Number 2, Lilo and Stitch, did 15.6 mil, doing $367 million in the last 4 weeks. And number 1,
Dethroned.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Uh-oh.
First week did $84.5 million.
Them kid movies, man. They're all the rage.
Killing it. Lots of youngins out there today.
Oh yeah.
Just
A lot of
need to
people
make
having babies.
more shit for adults.
Yeah.
Had a pretty big death this week with Harris Yulin, 87 years old, and Scarface and many, many other things.
Ghostbusters too, man.
Ghostbusters.
That scene is probably one of my favorite scenes of any movie. It's definitely one of them. The Scolari brothers, like
The
yeah.
Scolari brothers.
well, put them away. Like yeah, no, it's just and he's like yelling at him and like the shit's like wow, dude, I love it. Fuck anybody who doesn't like Ghostbusters too. Anyway, just for the record.
Who said you ever was one, Mel?
So long, Mel. Have a good trip. Fuck you.
And that's the show. Film-related news. Robert Eggers rejoins Willem Dafoe for his new adaptation of Christmas Carol.
Ooh. I can get behind
I
that.
don't know if I've ever seen the original Christmas Carol. I feel like
Really?
I feel like I should have, but I don't remember.
I always loved that story, and the original movie and stuff, like creepy as shit.
Like I know Scrooged. That's about it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's when I found that movie, I kind of forgot about the other one. You know,
Yeah.
the original shit when I was a kid. But yeah, I always liked that one because it was creepy, but it also had a good moral to it.
Yeah. And then Colin Trevorrow from the Jurassic World franchise is going to remake Flight of the Navigator. Why? I don't know, because it doesn't need remade. That movie's a fucking treasure.
Yeah.
Flight of the Bumblebee.
I grew up watching that film.
Same.
Can't redo it. They're fucking me up.
Fucking me up.
Also, Scream 7 news, joining the cast is Ethan Embry from Empire Records and Can't Hardly Wait and some other shit. He was always like the side kind of character. He was the dude in Empire Records that ate the brownie and was a big Guar fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's joining the cast of Scream. All
Yeah,
right.
they're probably going to do that thing where they have a whole bunch of different like celebrities or comeback celebrities or whatever in it, and then they're going to give us 15 people that we're going to try to figure out who did it, and then we're going to find out at least half of them did it.
Oh, I'm sure he's probably one of the ones that did it.
Probably.
Well, you think?
I mean,
Well, with all these additions, you think they're going to go with that idea they had in the past, where there was like a cult of people that were the killers?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I'm so ready for this movie so I can watch it and go, awesome. Now it's done
Done.
because I'm so
they
tired.
already greenlit part 8.
Shut up. No, this is the last one. No, No, Chad, this is not good news for me. Fucking Sydney better die. Sydney better die.
It
If they're
just keeps
doing
on going and going.
if they keep fucking doing stupid shit, kill Sydney.
They're going to do 10 of them. I guarantee it.
They're gonna kill that poor woman.
Mm-hmm. I can get you a toe, dude. With polish on it. Batman 2 news. They finally announced the villain will be Clayface, played
Nice.
by Tom Reese Harries from the Guy Ritchie show The Gentleman. He looks like he could pull off some Clayface. I'm just glad they finally figured out what the fuck they're doing, because I'm ready. But apparently we're going to see a second season of Penguin 2, or of Penguin, before Batman 2.
I had to watch all that. I haven't seen any of it.
I think. And the last and the biggest part of the news for the clerks, Spaceballs 2, baby. Mel Brooks in the house. OG cast. Can't wait. So ready for this.
Yeah, a little
We've talked
long.
about it for years,
Yeah,
and we finally are getting it. I do believe it's probably going to be Mel Brooks' last film. So he wants to go out and make all the fans happy.
should have done this a long time ago.
I'm excited and I'm scared
Yeah,
because I want them to do it justice, and I don't know. I'm skeptical, just because of the history of sequels, and especially so many years later. Obviously, we don't have John Candy anymore, or Joan Rivers. They're being replaced by younger actors. I guess the children, or I don't even know how Dot has a child robot. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Isn't that one dude, Josh, whatever his name is, playing Barf
Josh,
Jr.?
Yeah, Josh Gad is going to be Barf's son. I don't know how he, illegitimate son. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh.
Remains to be seen. But a lot of people are pretty pissed off because Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to reprise his role as Darth Helmet. And everybody was like, well, why didn't you do that for Ghostbusters?
Oh well. Yeah, I
He
mean,
knew it was going to suck.
Yep. I mean, if you go ahead.
I like the Ghostbuster movies.
I didn't mind it, but I mean, it sucked.
I would imagine it's a personal favor for Mel Brooks,
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to launch my campaign starting tonight to be in Spaceballs 2. That is my lifelong goal. All right. So I'm going to start placating to Josh Gad, the writers, that I be in this sequel. I don't care if I'm a Spaceball, extra, fucking whatever in this film. I'm gonna start blowing up their social media. I'll go anywhere in the world on my dime. I'll fly anywhere. I'll be in this movie. That's my goal. That's my dream. Starting tonight.
I like it. I'm down. That'd definitely be a bucket list item. Be in Spaceballs too. Zack and Miri wasn't enough.
The search for more money. I hope it's called that.
They should definitely make it that.
Because
I have a feeling it won't be, but that would be fucking amazing.
well, they were saying something about the Schwartz Awakens, but I don't know. You got to do.
It needs to be the search for more money.
Yeah. You got to do the callback.
Yeah. Well, that is the news for this evening. Time to jump in.
Real quick. Another one. They said that they're getting ready. Is in. I don't know if it's in production or pre-production. Harold and Kumar 4. I just saw.
Interesting.
I don't know
And
if I
those
saw
guys-
3.
And those guys are coming back as
A couple.
Harold and Kumar. Yeah.
Oh,
Reprise the role. The role.
So we'll see. I was never a big fan of that film franchise. It's okay, but nothing.
The first one's still the best.
Oh yeah, first one's the best. I mean, if you're not, it's one of those like you almost have to be a stoner to get some of the why some of it's funny. This the whole idea of like the bullshit that happens when you're just trying to go down and get munchies.
Or just
Sure.
an MPH fan.
Do what?
An MPH fan.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I love
MPH.
you, Patrick Harris.
Oh yeah, he's pretty funny in those. He really is.
But
Yeah,
see,
pretty much brought him back to life.
But see,
Right.
even for somebody like me who doesn't smoke, you know, it's gotta be funny enough to where I can enjoy it as well. It's like, you know, I can watch Cheech and Chong, I can watch How
True.
High, a number of other stoner films and enjoy myself. This is just one that's, you know, I don't know, a little too cheesy. It's in the middle. I wouldn't say it's in the bottom of the stoner films, but it's in the middle, not the top for me.
Oh, yeah,
That
it's-
if you're home when you see it, you just want White Castle when there's not one here.
Yep, there you go. Chicken rangs,
True.
Chicken rings.
dang da dang.
Dang, dang. Chicken ring.
Dig it, dig it.
All right, let's move forward here and jump in to Jaws.
Or should we say dive in?
Dive. Deep dive. Dive. Happy birthday, Bruce Hats. If you did not know, the shark's nickname was Bruce, named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. And apparently still has the same lawyer.
Oh wow.
Interesting. Anyway, this movie came out on June 20th, 1975, so it's not quite 50 years, but it will be Friday. So Friday is the legit anniversary of this film. We are celebrating a little prematurely, but we watched this on Friday.
I can't believe 50 years,
Why
man.
I said that. I knew your head was gone.
That's crazy. 50 years.
Seafoam. I know, right? 50
It's
fucking
hard
years
to
ago.
believe. Like when this movie, like it's hard to even believe a time like the original Star Wars hadn't even come out yet.
No,
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a summer blockbuster until this movie came out. Nobody knew who Steven Spielberg was at the time.
he was what, 27 years old whenever he was directing
Yeah,
this?
26 or 20. He was in his 20s.
This is his second film, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
What
crazy.
was the first film?
Richard Dreyfuss said this is the time in his life where he was in a film and he watched a boy turn into a man because of all the production
Oh.
issues,
Eek.
Hey now.
right? But it came out June 20th, which is this Friday. Had a runtime of 124 minutes, so a little longer than usual, but not too bad. I think it seems fairly long for a movie back in the 70s, right?
Oh,
Depends.
I guess.
But it was given the budget of $3 million, but they went well over. So the final budget was $9 million.
It's a good thing it wasn't hit.
$9 million.
Because Steven Spielberg never would have got a job again, I guarantee it, if
No.
this movie wasn't a hit.
Well worth the
Right.
investment.
No, so it was a budget given of $3 million and a shooting time of 70 days. The final budget was $9 million, and the final count for the shoot days was well over 150.
I think it was around 190.
So that's pretty fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
But luckily for them, they hit a success, and it brought in $476.5 million
God
on a
damn.
$9 million budget.
What was
The
Spielberg's
first
first
movie
movie?
to hit over $100 million.
What was Spielberg's first movie?
It was some little, like, I forget what the fuck it was called. I heard the name about 6 times today while I was watching documentaries and shit.
Was it Empire of the Sun?
I did not write it down.
I can't
But it
remember.
was nothing crazy. I know he almost didn't do this film because he was going to do another film with, I believe it was Burt Reynolds and James Caan or somebody.
Oh wow.
That iron
then-
grip handshake,
It was.
like Burt Reynolds and shit. What's up, Rich?
You're like the Shark Boy.
Oh, this was his fourth movie, actually.
Shark
What
Boy.
was his fourth movie?
Firelight was his first. Duel
Richard.
was the second.
Yeah,
And Sugarland Express was the one I was thinking of. Sugarland Express was his third movie.
I forgot about Duel. Duel's a good. I got that on VHS. That's a good one.
That was what, because he was saying something about it. It seemed a lot like Jaws whenever he read it. So that's why he
But
went.
this is the second feature film, right? Because I'm pretty sure whenever I was watching earlier, he did like a little introduction to the 50th anniversary, and he was saying it was his second film. Unless I heard.
Yeah, I know he just did Duel.
I don't know.
But,
I don't think Duel
very-
was in theaters. I don't think Duel was in theaters though.
Very young in his career.
But the screenplay was written by Peter Benchley, who also did the novel in '74, and then was later rewritten by Carl Gottlieb, who kind of added a little more personality. They changed the ending because there was a lot of different things from the book to the film,
I never
as
read the
most
book.
things are, but they seem to have changed things for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never read that.
Like I know they were saying, like in the book, Quint barely had any lines. He just kind of like stayed to himself.
Yeah.
Brody and his wife never got along, and then whenever Hooper came to the island, Ellen, Brody's wife, and Hooper had an affair, and then Brody figured it all out and whatever, and we got pissed. So like they had a thing going out, then it was just a whole fucking mess. So they definitely changed it for the better.
Oh man, that's weird. So what? Like fucking Hooper hooks up with Brody's wife, and then they go out and he feeds him to the shark.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
what I was thinking.
Oh man, that'd been crazy.
I'm gonna have to read this book.
Not as good, but
Yeah, they're like the ending's not as epic. Like they go out to hunt the shark, and then Quentin dies, Hooper dies, and then as the boat's sinking and the shark is approaching Brody, from all the puncture wounds and shit from all the harpoon shots that Quint gave it, the shark just dies.
dumb.
So I was like, yeah, they definitely spiced this up, and it was a lot better.
Didn't the mayor have ties to the mob or something? Wasn't there a whole subplot with that in the book?
I mean, it's very possible.
I saw that somewhere.
I don't remember.
I don't confirm or deny these allegations.
But this film starred Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gray, and Murray Hamilton. They're your 5 main characters.
F. Murray Hamilton?
No. Now, originally, for Robert Shaw characters, Quint, they wanted Lee Harvey or Sterling Hayden. And then Spielberg kind of wanted some lesser known actors, but then they ended up getting Robert Shaw, because the producers of the film, I forget their names. I should have wrote them down, but I didn't. But they worked with Shaw on The Sting.
Sting, great flick, man. Love it.
So he was coming off that, and then they said he was their favorite Bond villain.
Yep.
For being in From Paris with Love.
No, From Russia with Love.
From Russia with Love. Yeah, the Paris was the Travolta one, right? But then they were going to get Jan Michael Vincent to play Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss's role, because he kind of looked more casty as the book described him, like tan, muscular, blonde hair. And then they figured no. And then they went with Dreyfuss. He turned the role down twice. And then once his other film came out, The Adventures of DUNN, the fuck did I say?
DeVito.
Rabbits. Once it was about to come out, Dreyfuss figured it was going to bomb. So then he was like, fuck it, I better call these guys back and jump on this shit. So that's what happened. And then they still didn't, because whenever they started filming this movie, they had no casting, no real like script done. Then The Shark wasn't even made yet. So it was just a bunch of nonsense. This fucking movie was doomed from the jump.
Or was it?
It was. But, so then I guess they were at a party one night. Steven Spielberg just sat down beside some guy, he said, and started talking about how he was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I need to cast this part, blah, 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 blah. And he was sitting there next to Roy Scheider, and Scheider was like, hey, like, I'm an actor. Like, I'll be in Jaws. So he was like, cool. So that shit kind of worked out.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Father of Rob Schneider.
Not Schneider, Scheider.
Oh.
This fucking guy. Fucking Shark Boy. Fucking Shark Boy. But,
Roy Scheider, man. Fucking
Just did the
classic.
French Connection before. that.
French Connection, yep. French Conspiracy. He was in both of those films.
they were trying to get Charlton Heston to be Brody. But Spielberg was like, no, he's like too well known. He's like, I want the shark to last the whole movie. I don't want him to be killed in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's like, has to fuck him up.
Well, we're sitting here talking about 50th anniversary. You want to feel old, okay? Roy Scheider is 43 years old in this film, I think, 42 or 43. So he's younger than us in this film, and Robert Shaw is 48, I believe, in this film.
Yeah, and then sadly he passed 2 or 3 years later.
3 years later at 51 from a heart attack.
Yeah, they said he definitely kind of followed his Irish roots with constantly being drunk and drinking nonstop, even while on set.
His son looks just like him.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I can't do this hat no more. It's cutting off the circulation to my ears.
Oh,
These
we're taking off the hat.
Child party hats are too big for an adult fat head. Oh. How you doing?
I'll try to hang in there a little longer.
Good luck.
I just had to move it from behind.
You're
my
a trooper.
ears.
You are a trooper. But yeah, like I said, like this movie had so much shit going against it. And they were basically casting as soon as they got greenlit. Then they're doing the script, rewriting the script as they're doing the whole movie. Like I said, they brought in Carl Gottlieb to redo the screenplay and stuff, and then rewrite the script and add all kinds of different elements and change characters around a little bit just to kind of make it more interesting. And also, they started getting this. They got the shark developed, but then the fucking thing wouldn't work.
Well, Spielberg wanted to film in the real ocean too.
Yeah, that was a big no-no back then.
Yeah, they didn't have the technology to do that.
Like he had to fight to get them to film in the Atlantic.
Then the weather and just everything. That's what shot them like so past schedule.
And then the
Like
whole
100
thing was
days.
filmed in Martha's Vineyards.
Yeah, because of the shallow water.
Yep.
So he wanted real ocean. Everybody else was saying to film in a lake or in a pool or
It
whatever.
looked great though.
But he was like, no, this has to be authentic. Which is why like a lot of the scenes did take forever to shoot, like especially the scenes out when the boat's out in the ocean. And then they would have to wait for sailboats to go by. Like they'd start getting ready to start filming, and then a sailboat would come into the scene. And then they'd have to wait for it to pass and then just pray like another one wasn't right behind it. So they were basically shooting between sailboat takes.
God.
So that would be pretty shitty.
The behind the scenes stuff of movies is pretty interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, I would watch so much shit about this film over the years, and then I rewatched a couple of documentaries today, and just going back and rewatching that shit. Like, there were so many times that Steven Spielberg was pretty much going to get fired or just quit the film because he was just over it, and then it led to a lot of other drama on like set and stuff with Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss, because Dreyfuss was like, why am I even here? I should be signing autographs.
Yeah.
And then Robert Shaw was like, this fucking guy is a big sissy. Like, he needs to get his shit together. So then they were having issues. And then Rob Schneider, Roy Schneider, got me fucked.
Yeah.
He had issues with Dreyfuss as well. And then they were saying like how like there were so many people just there, like the Islanders only at Martha's Vineyards were pissed because they were filming because they brought so much other traffic. There were so many people there, and then all they were doing between times because they couldn't film shit because they had no script, had no nothing. They were just fucking partying all the time. And Richard Dreyfuss said there were lots of single girls during the filming of this, and he said, back in those days, I was known to party. So he was just running around banging all the Islanders.
Oh, that's great.
Bonus.
Mr. Big Shot, huh? Mr. Kanaka. American Graffiti.
Yeah. Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah, so if you ever want to watch any of the documentaries on there, they have the Inside Story of Jaws and the Shark Still Works documentaries on YouTube. Check them out. And they also have another one coming out, I think, this weekend on Hulu for the 50th anniversary. So I'm going to end up watching that as well.
Didn't
film, the beginning of this movie was pretty dope. I just like how you see it, because like I said, the shark wasn't working, so they ended up filming a lot of shit out of just knowing the shark's there, like just filming like the underwater scenes where it's like the shark's traveling, and then he ended up doing a lot of the scenes that way, so you got to use your imagination more since they did not actually have a shark. If the shark would have worked the way they were intending, it would have been a whole other different film as well.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of how it was shot, where like you didn't really see anything, and like the girl getting pulled. Yeah, no shit. The girl getting pulled in. That was Spielberg pulling her down, right?
Yeah, they the opening scene where like she jumps into the water and then she gets attacked by a shark, and it's 5 guys on each side of her pulling a rope, so they're just pulling her back and forth.
I've seen that movie.
Jesus. I think her name, what the fuck was her name? Like Susan Bertolini or some shit like that. And she was a stunt woman. And plus she was a good-looking woman. Bertolini?
Backlini.
Yeah, I've done that before. But
she just passed away only a couple years ago, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember she would do conventions and stuff. So
yeah, like she was like a wild animal like handler and everything, like all kinds of shit. But then they were pulling her from different angles, and then the last shot, whenever she gets pulled under, was Spielberg, because he wanted to make sure that she went down the correct way.
That's creepy.
But I think she got injured during that too.
They said they kind of fucked up her back a little bit.
Yeah, like a whiplash, because you can see. Yeah, you can see whenever she's like jetting back and forth. You know, there's some kind of whiplash there effect.
Yeah,
whiplash.
But that opening scene's great because it definitely sets the tone of the film. Like you can't fucking see the monster because it's fucking dark and you're underwater.
That's right.
Terrifying.
The scariest thing. The great unknown.
Right. It's the best element is your mind. So that's why it like just from the shark not working, it just forced Spielberg to shoot this film in a whole different other meaning. He said, I didn't know if it was a curse or a blessing, because he's like a
blessing.
He's like it just the imagination takes over, so you just expect things to happen. That's why like they did like the whole thing later in the film with the yellow barrels, so that way they could let the shark's presence be known without showing the shark.
Yeah. The monster was always best in the dark. You know, the first Alien, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, always better in the dark.
I mean, Friday the 13th, like and that's why like growing up, many kids and stuff like had fears of the dark, because in the dark you can't see what's coming at you. That's the scary part. Me and my friends used to scare the living shit out of each other. We would I had a buddy real quick. I had a buddy who lived in a decent sized house, and his parents would always leave, and we'd turn all the lights off at the whole house, and one of us would stay down in the basement, and the other one would take a minute and then run screaming down the steps. And even though you knew it was just the most terrifying fucking thing, because you didn't know where they were. Like, yeah, it's the whole thing about you don't put your hand into a dark hole. You can also use that.
It's perfectly safe to go in the water. There is no shark. I repeat, it is safe to go in the water. Thank you.
Sorry, Mike's neighbors are really confused tonight. Anyway.
It is raining out around here.
God damn, honey, that boy, they're screaming in his
You
back.
got it again.
Apparently he's got a party going over there. He said, everybody get back in the water. How big's his tub? Fuck.
No, but in the first 30 minutes of this film, you're introduced to all 3 of the main characters, being Martin, Quint, and Hooper. And for me, in the first 30 minutes, the best thing I remember is the town meeting after, because they have the 2 deaths. You have the girl on the beach getting eaten alive. Then later on, everybody's at the beach, and then you see a little kid get eaten, and all this blood fucking flies up in the air, which was a very violent, bloody scene for being a PG film.
It was PG. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I said like filming that scene was a pain in the ass because the kid that was the one on the raft, like every other take, like you'd see his leg pop up from trying to go under the water to hold his breath. So then they just ended up having a scuba guy just pull him back down. So I was like, a lot of people in this film almost drowning, getting pulled under the water against their will.
Who cares if he's going to have trauma? It's going to be a great shot. Just hold him down there just a little bit longer. His parents can fuck off for 2 seconds. They're getting money.
But yeah, so like the kid gets eaten, and then after that, they all go to the town hall thing because after the first person died, Brody tries to get the beach shut down, but the mayor's like, nah. Like it's 4th of July is coming up. We need money, or else we're all going to be on welfare.
This was a boating accident, guys. All right, let's not overthink this.
But then once the other kid gets eaten, and then they do have the meeting, like that seems like one of the most memorable scenes in the beginning of the movie because that's whenever you first meet Quint, aside from just seeing him on a pass by. But then one of my favorite lines in the movie, they're talking about shutting the beaches down, and then they're like, you hear someone say, "For how long?" And then the mayor's like, "Just 48 hours or 24 hours." And then you hear like this, this very distinct voice through all the people crowd. They're like, 24 hours is like 3 weeks. And I don't know why, but that shit always fucking cracks me up because I'm like, for real, yo. Like, a whole day can seem like an eternity whenever you're just waiting to go swimming or do whatever. So you're not just stuck in your house anymore. But that scene always cracked me up. And then you have the screechiness, as Mike did on the chalkboard, with the beautiful drawing of the shark with the little stick figure in his mouth. And then he tells him, like, look, like, you're going to have to pay me a lot more than $3,000 to kill this shark. It's like more like 10. Like, he gives the whole speech, like, you know who I am. Like, he's just a shark wrangler.
You know who I am. You know what I do.
The fisherman.
Fisherman?
Fisherman. Yeah, fisherman.
Night crawlers.
So then, the next day, they're trying to hold this thing. This is what I don't get about the movie, though. Like, they're trying to keep everything quiet. And then the next day, all these people were coming from different parts of the states to go hunt this shark.
Yes.
So people have to know there's shark attacks on this beach.
Yeah.
So so like to me, like July 4th is already a bust because I'm not going to go to a fucking beach if they're having shark attacks and it's well known and people are fucking going shark hunting and shit. Like that shit's just not good. So then like the one guys catch the shark.
Catch a shark.
Catch a shark.
Not a shark.
Then they everybody's partying or whatever, trying to say like they're all celebrating, and then it's not quite the shark. And then
it's the tiger shark. What? I like that guy's reaction. What?
A what? But then you get Hooper over there. He's like checking the mouth, the bite radius. Like all these teeth are mangled in this fucking shark's mouth. Whenever they're out there fishing, though, like they're throwing dynamite, all kinds of stupid shit. Like it's a wonder how nobody got hurt out there. and that's all in like the first 30 minutes. So I mean, it's pretty decently paced for everything, that all the backstory and everything. Like you're not really bored watching this film. Like it definitely picks up halfway into the film once they decide to actually go hunt the shark. But leading up to it, it's a pretty good story. Like it definitely keeps you in suspense, keeps you wanting to see the shark, but yet you want to see people survive. So then after they get the little boy, or they get the shark from killing they think they got the shark that killed the little boy, Brody and Hooper jump in there and gut this bitch open, find nothing. Then they decide to go hunt the shark, which when they're out there, it's already nighttime. And then they get a little ping on his little finder thingamajigger and find another boat out there, Ben Gardner's boat. And then they find his head.
I know him.
No eyeball in the bottom of it.
Yeah. They always do a great job with those kind of jump scares with the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Body parts floating around.
That seems like a reoccurring theme in this whole franchise. It's like,
that was actually an after shot once they were done filming on location, and that was actually filmed in someone's swimming pool.
There you go.
It's pretty interesting. Have to be a big ass swimming pool. Well, that's a pretty good scene. And then once they realize there's still this fucking big ass shark out there, they go plead to the mayor to close these beaches, and he's still being an asshole. And he's like, no, I got tourists coming. By that time, you see the fucking big ass tourist boat come pulling up, which is a fucking giant cruise ship. So I don't know where these people are getting off at. Because all the other like boating docks are real low to the ground.
Right.
Like, there's nothing ship worthy.
Kind of like Jason
pull
like Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, how the fuck is there a big ass ship like just connected to Crystal Lake?
I mean,
you know,
Look, we don't need to talk about a shark. We do not need to start a panic, okay, guys? All right, people come here for the summer. This is what Amity's about. Amity means friendship. All right.
yeah.
now this is kind of when the movie kind of starts getting a little more fast paced, and then like everybody's at the beach, the tourists are out, fucking the mayor's getting pissed off because nobody's swimming because they all heard the news or whatever. So he's like talking to some of the locals. He's like, yeah, you need to go out in the water, blah blah blah, and everybody's like, I'm not trying to go out there. But then they do, so then everybody else kind of follows, and then they're out there swimming, and then the two kids pull the prank, and they have all this extra security like everywhere. Like people were out in the fucking in boats out in the middle of the ocean waiting for this shark.
That's
and then
something you do.
You get these two asshole kids, which is me and Mike, fucking swimming along with the fucking shark fin on a wooden plank, scaring the shit out of everybody. And then they fucking pop up, and they have these guns fucking pointed at them. And the one kid just straight up sells out the dude. He's like, he made me do it.
Yeah.
Which, and then they're like, it's just a little bunch of kids playing a prank or whatever. But meanwhile, Michael.
Well, it's like everybody's freaking out, and the way that it shows everybody freaking out when they think they see the shark. Reminds me of how everybody acted in Caddyshack when they thought they saw a turd floating in the pool. Which I think that's what they were going for. But
that's that glorious shot too they ended up making, because they had like made like a big waterproof box to put the camera in, so that way he could get like the half water, half out of the water look, and that's pretty much where he went, and that's how they shot the majority of the movie.
Yeah,
for the water scenes, and it looks dope. But then you have Michael, which is Brody's son, and his other son is Sean. But
Michael,
he was going to take his boat out, and his dad told him, and he's like, yeah, go put it in the pond. So then fucking he throws it in the pond or whatever, and well, guess what?
Ooh, guess what?
Guess who's in the pond?
Bruce.
Fucking Bruce. Bruce. Wait a minute, he's a comedian. Well, whatever. But anyway, so as they're like getting everybody out of the water over there, and there's fucking panic on the beach, you hear some girl yelling sharks, and then they all he's like, what the fuck now? So then Brody starts running over there. And then they realize, oh shit, Michael's in the fucking pond. So then like the other dude that's in the pond with him gets knocked over and ate. Then Michael's freaking out. He's just in shock. They pull him out of the water. He's in the hospital. He's okay. But it's just weird how after that you get Jaws 4. Because he works in the water. Guess he had to beat his fears. But so after
it's
that,
just a bad movie.
Yeah.
After that's whenever everybody's kind of like, okay, fuck this. Like, we need to get this shark. Like, even the mayor's in line. He's like, fucking pay Quint his 10
million. Oh shit.
Hell, I'll hunt the shark for 10 mil.
Oh shit, right? So they fucking get all on board, and they're like, all right, cool. They're all pissed scared. And then this is from this point on, like, I'd say the first, because this is about the hour mark whenever they decide to go out on the shark. So they go over to fucking, well, it's like, yeah, they go to Quint, fucking kick it with him for a bit, figure out what they're going to do, and then he's being an asshole just because it's his fucking vessel and shit. And then he's always drunk, so moonshine, they can't handle it.
I don't need this.
It's paced really well, like you said. This is almost like the halfway point. So it's like in the first half, you're introduced to the characters. You got a real simple story. There's a shark that's shown up. It's eating people, and we got to find it. It's so simple, but it's such a good story. It draws you in. Like you said, you don't see the animal. It's all a mental thing. And on top of that, the way that Spielberg shoots it is so good. Going back to the one scene where they're on the beach where the boy gets eaten. I really like that shot where Brody is sitting there on the beach, and every time somebody walks past him, like the camera goes in closer, and then somebody walks past, and it cuts in closer, and again it keeps doing that, and then it goes back out, and then eventually once he realizes that the shark is out there, it has that zoom.
It's like the zoom in pullback.
Yeah. So all that cinematography Spielberg does is great, and we can't go and we can't go without mentioning the genius of John Williams to provide.
No, that was in my notes. I just looked at that right before you said that.
Oh my gosh! Even right out the gate, you get that music, and it's just iconic. This guy is one of the best of all time, man.
And this was like the first of many, many, many times that he worked with Spielberg and Lucas.
Yeah.
So I mean,
icon, man. John Williams, like the genius. Like I was just, we were talking in the chat the other day, and for whatever reason I was just popped on Return of the Jedi. I was watching the barge scene, and just that the music and the action and everything like that is just perfect. And without John Williams, these films would be good, but I don't know how it makes them iconic with that music.
Yeah, I mean, he just did so many iconic fucking soundtrack themes. Jurassic Park.
List goes on and on, man. This guy is one of the best of all time, if not the best. You could argue he's the best. I would say him.
Yeah, he's legendary.
Yeah, man.
He's the shit.
Because everybody knows Jaws, man. As soon as you dun, like everybody knows that.
Yeah, and then what's funny about that too is Spielberg said the first time he went over to John's house and was like, "Okay, what do we got?" And he started playing these notes, and then Spielberg said he kind of chuckled because he was like, "Yeah, like I know you're full of shit. Like you can come up with something better than this." And then like once he like heard that next to like whenever the shark was about to appear, he was like, "It's fucking working." He's like, "It's just like a slow build up."
Yeah.
With two powerful notes.
Yeah, you just do those notes at first. Like if you never heard it before, and it's just like, you're like, what the fuck is this? But then it starts building, and when you match that with the scene of the the camera, either the shark coming or going, and the camera moving, like you said, sometimes you see the animal, or sometimes you don't, but when that music's playing and that's going, then you know exactly what's going on, and it's just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you said, up to that point is pretty much just the build up until they decide to say, okay, this fucking shark has to die. But then it's just funny because Quint's an asshole because he just thinks he's like the best fisherman ever. That and he's drunk 90% of the time. But then they're just loading the boats and he's just talking shit. Like that's whenever the iconic scene of him talking to Hooper as Hooper's loading up his shark cage and his O2 tanks, and then you get the classic line of it's like cage goes in the water, you go in the cage, shark's in the water, our shark. But then like at that time, like you see Brody in the background and he's got this blue rain gear get up shit sit on, and then fucking Hooper's like, or fucking Quint's like,
oh, you brought your rubbers.
It's like, this ain't the Boy Scouts, Chief. But that just kind of shows you the kind of guy that he is. Like as soon as they're pulling out of the harbor, like Quint's just laughing and singing and quoting like random shit he's heard over the years. And you can just tell like it's going to be a long boat trip, and they don't look happy either because they both don't like this guy because he's already pretty much talked shit to the chief and to fucking Hooper. Yeah, so they know they're in for a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean that's the quintessential Quint. Oddly enough, he's one of these local fisherman guys, that goes out, he hunts the sharks. You see in his place all the different shark teeth all over the walls and everything that he's captured over the years, and mounted the teeth as trophies. So he's one of these guys that looks at Hooper and even Brody as city slickers, because Brody's from New York and Hooper comes from the university or whatever. And he's just like, oh, you guys and all your fancy equipment and all this shit. He's been doing this for years, and he doesn't need that. You can tell how he's got this rickety ass boat that they're going out on.
The Orca.
He just, he thinks he knows everything. He's one of these guys who's seen it all until he meets Jaws.
Yeah, Bruce don't fuck around. Yeah, so Quint's just out there. He's like, fuck it, we're gonna have some fun. We're going to go fishing. So he's out there fishing, eating his little fucking snacks.
And one more thing. Whenever they're leaving, I really love this shot. There's so many different little shots that Spielberg throws in here that I enjoy. And it's like whenever they get on the Orca and the Orca is leaving the dock, and you have that kind of zoom through the teeth of the shark that's like hanging in his place. In Quint's place, so you see the camera going through these shark teeth and zooming into the Orca, and I always thought that shot was kind of cool.
Yeah,
agreed.
Kind of like foreboding, like we're going into the mouth of the belly of the beast, if you will.
See, I always wanted some shark teeth, but they're fucking pricey.
Yeah,
like they're really fucking pricey.
It's one of the reasons. One of my favorite scenes that isn't really like anything action packed, but when they're getting drunk on the boat, and they've dealt with shit all day, back and forth with the shark and all that, and they're sitting there getting drunk and talking and singing and having a good time, and you're like, oh, look at this, they're getting along, like everybody's like telling their stories and all that. Then it gets real serious, and then the shit hits the fan. And man, what a horrible time to be trashed. Like seriously, like that is a horrible, horrible time to be that fucked up. Yeah, ridiculous.
I just like right before that part too, like, he's sitting there, he like thinks he gets the shark or whatever. Hooper's talking shit the whole time. I guess it's a fucking tuna or whatever. But then the line breaks on the piano wire, so it's like that's no fucking regular fish. So then he tells fucking Brody, he's like, throw some more chum out here. So he's fucking chumming and he's all pissed off. He's like, he's like, I can steer the line. I'm just coming here and chum some of this shit. And then he's like scooping out fucking fish guts and shit. Whenever he throws it, he just looks over and fucking Bruce is popping out the water. And then he backs up into the fucking. Like that scene is pretty dope too, because like just like the look on his face, he pops up. Like they said, like apparently that was his real reaction because he didn't like the water, he didn't care for sharks, and then that was like one of his first times really like seeing the shark, so it really surprised him. So like you get that look, and then you just get that other famous line that Roy popped off from the top of his head, and he was like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat," and then that was pretty much the tagline for the fucking movie ever since. And that was just a little ad lib,
and it's been used over and over again.
Oh, and everything.
Most notably Taco Bell. I think we're going to need a bigger box.
Me and Dave were talking earlier. We always think about Clerks and Salsa Shark.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many movies that reference Jaws, just because it's such an iconic film.
Oh,
well, I think this is Kevin Smith's favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
In fact, in Mallrats, he names Jason Lee and what's the other guy's real name?
Jeremy
London. That's it.
Yeah.
He has Quint and Brody Lee. So Brody and Quint. So.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I remember when I saw Kevin Smith speak many years ago.
Many hours.
3 hours. Yeah, he said he was making up for being a fat guy. He was supposed to only talk for an hour and a half. But he talked about his love of Jaws during that.
I mean, in Chasing Amy, the one guy's name's Hooper X.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Comic book artist. What was that comic book he did? We won't talk about that. But it's kind of like Star Wars.
Fuck Lando Calrissian.
You almost made me piss myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so up to then it's pretty chill, but then like once that scene with the chum shit happens, like you know they're about to be in for a treat. Because then after that, Bruce is constantly fucking with him the whole time. And then that's whenever you get to like right after that, that's whenever they're in like the hall of the ship drinking and shit and telling permanent marks stories because Brody has a little cut on his head. And then fucking Quint's like, he's like, that's not permanent. You want to see what's permanent? And he pulls out his one little chip tooth or whatever. And then Hooper throws up his leg and is talking about a different shark. Then Quint throws up his leg talking about a different shark. And then fucking Hooper's like, yeah, then drink through your legs. Well, drink through your leg. Then Hooper's
that's another thing in Chasing Amy. Whenever Affleck and her are comparing scars or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then Hooper's like, biggest scar ever. He talks about some chick. He's like, she broke my heart or whatever.
Yeah.
And they kind of like joke around. And then fucking Hooper points to his arm and he's like, what's that? He's like, a tattoo remover. He's like, let me guess, like, I heart mom. And then like he just kind of like braces Hooper and like kind of grabs his arm and tells one of the most gut-wrenching stories ever about the USS Indianapolis getting hit by a torpedo after delivering the Hiroshima bomb. And then a lot of people in the community that were actually on the Indianapolis really loved that story because they were saying like people didn't know it. And then it really wasn't a big thing. So whenever they actually heard it and how detailed and shit, like he's like, like a lot of them like hated that story because it just brought back that fucking day for them. Like the one person from one of the actual soldiers that were on the boat were actually saying like I think their grandkid or their kid or whatever was like, hey, you got to see this story or this movie. And he's like, I don't watch any movies with sharks in it. So like, it was a big thing. Like it was pretty touching and one of the best fucking monologues there probably were to this day.
Yeah.
Like almost everybody can re-quote that fucking whole scene. And then that's when he starts singing Farewell and Adieu again. And then they start singing on Show Me the Way to Go Home.
Yeah.
And then they're just partying. And then Bruce fucking attacks. Starts beating the shit out of the outside of the ship.
Mike, are you wearing pants?
Huh? Yeah, I got my swim trunks on. I got my swimmies.
Okay.
It looks like I'm in a room, but I'm really out in the water right now.
Yesterday he's over at the house and he's like, man, why are flippers so goddamn expensive? I'm like, why are you looking at flippers?
Flippers. Yeah,
Like,
I'm actually in the water right now. That's why I got my flotation device here. It's I've been it's been rocking me back and forth all night. I'm not
rock the Caspa, Mike.
I'm not accustomed to this. I've never done a podcast at sea, if you will. But I mean, it's whew. Oh, geez. Oh, splashing me. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
I just wish someone was there just to throw a bucket of water on you right now.
They're biting tonight.
Here, asshole. But anyway, Mike's over there fucking playing beach balls. Always playing with balls of some sort.
What?
Anyway, so they're singing along or whatever.
Well, going back to them comparing all the scars and everything. That's like we said, there's kind of this standoffishness between the three of them. Before they get on the boat. Then once they get on the boat, they're slowly building this relationship with each other. Quint is showing Brody because like Brody is afraid of the water. He doesn't go out in the water. He doesn't go in boats and anything like that. So Quint's showing him, how to tie knots and things like that. Showing him how to do different things on the boat. He's making himself useful and learning. And at the same time, you got Hooper, who's very well versed in sailing and everything like that, who's driving the ship. So they slowly build this relationship with each other. And then that's what culminates, like we said, with them all drinking and having a good time and sharing stories and everything like that. So now they've bonded in a sense, and now it's time for them to actually face this monster together.
Yeah, and the main final act is the fighting and the hunting of Bruce. Because he, like I said, he shows up after the song because I guess all the noise, he just was like, I'm going to go over here and fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
Starts like ramming the side of the boat and shit. So then like to the point where it starts leaking. And they're like, well, fuck, we need to do something. So then they jump out and everything and it just stops. But then, so then they're sitting there trying to fix the boat because all the water came on and like the engines are burning up and all the salt water and shit's fucking everything up. Then as they're doing that, like Brody's just hanging out in the back of the boat and then he hears like a sploosh noise and one of the barrels pops up. So then
what noise?
The sploosh.
Ah, not what I thought you said. I was like, you heard a splat. Oh, this shark's crazy.
So Jabberjaw.
Anyway.
So they try to catch Jabberjaw. And then they start shooting more barrels into him. And then they're like, he can't take down 3 barrels. So he's got 3 barrels in him. And he's like, nobody's ever taken down 3 barrels. So then the fucking shark just disappears again. And then that's whenever Quint realizes, like, hey, we might be fucked here.
Have you ever seen one do that before?
No. And you can just see like the sheer panic and just doubt in his face whenever he pulls those other 3 barrels down. So then he's fucking like, well, fuck it. Like, because even like earlier in the film, I think it was like right before this part, Brody's talking to Hooper. He's like, why don't we start taking this thing into shore instead of him leading us out to sea?
Mm-hmm.
So then I think that's when Quint's kind of like, yeah, you're probably right. So then he starts fucking like power throttling this fucking boat. And then fucking Hooper's like, look, like you're going to burn this shit out from all this water and shit. And he's like, it's my fucking boat. If I burn the goddamn thing up, I don't give a fuck. Like, get out of here. Like he just starts screaming at him. And then he starts singing again. And he's just all fucking angry, like getting all amped up and shit. And then finally the boat blows up. Well, it doesn't blow up, but the motor blows up. And then they're just fucked. So then at that point, they're like, all right, we got to suck this boat off and get this water out.
What a way to word that.
What?
All right, guys, we got to get that water out.
Well,
we got to soak this boat or this water off the boat.
You're going to have to chum
Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
Fucking Tommy the Steamboat.
Tommy,
And then that's whenever Quentin kind of looks over at Hooper and he's like, what kind of shit can you do with all this nonsense you brought upon my vessel? So they get the fucking shark cage ready. And he's like, all right. So then he's like, I'm going to throw your ass in this water and you can try to kill this fucking shark with some cyanide or whatever the fuck you got going on. And then sad story. So they were talking about ways to film this scene because they didn't really have a shark. But then they had another shooting location or team in Australia just shooting large sharks. And like the biggest shark they could find was like 15 foot, 16 foot or whatever. So they were like, well, what if we took a little person in a smaller cage and put him in the shark and then it would look like it's 25 feet. And they were like, like that might work. So they knew this stuntman, Carl Rizzo, who was 4'9". And then they throw him in there with these sharks to see if like the size would match up to wherever it looked like the shark's 25 foot long. But then while he was down there, like the shark attacked the cage and then he sucked in all the oxygen from his tank because they only put 8 minutes of oxygen in there because the guy was like, I didn't realize even though he was a little person, he needs just the same amount of oxygen as we do. and the guy ended up having a heart attack.
God damn it.
And then another scene they had.
You mean you need oxygen too, just like regular people?
Right. Like, who would have thought? Science. Science.
Really makes you think, doesn't it?
God.
But he was okay. Like, he survived and everything. But then, like, they had, like, another scene where, like, the shark cage was in the water, and then that shark just fucking demolished this cage. Because in the original script and in the book, Hooper dies while in the shark cage. He gets eaten. So apparently that shark cage was not working correctly. Or just the fact that Bruce was 25 foot long made
bitch.
like biting a soda can.
25 foot.
Yeah, so they had like all this footage and they couldn't even use that because nobody was in the cage whenever that shark went fucking nutso and literally ended up being stuck in the top of the shark cage and almost flipped into the boat while they were filming that shit. So yeah, like that's some interesting shit that I found out doing my little researches. And I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. Like, these people were fucking stupid. But yeah, so like Hooper goes in the cage goes in the water, shark's in the water. And then he's sitting there and he freaks the fuck out. And then Bruce almost eats his ass and he goes swimming off. That's why they ended up changing the story to Hooper survives, since the little guy in Australia almost died. They're like, we'll just rewrite this or whatever. And then at that point, Bruce does a fucking full mount and tries to jump into the back of the boat.
Like, fuck it.
He said, fuck it.
Yes, fuck it.
He said, I'm all in. Let's do this shit. Fucking back of the boat falls off. Fucking Hooper or Quint starts fucking sliding down and stabs him in the fucking face with a machete until he is eaten and bitten in half. That scene always sucked. But whenever like the shark bites down on his like midsection and all that fucking blood comes out of his mouth, though, that's pretty dope.
It's a pretty brutal scene.
It is.
I love how he has that machete and he's just like stabbing it in the face
Yeah.
with it. And earlier on, there was a part where I think the barrels were getting ready to tear up the hooks they were tied to. They were getting ready to get torn out of the boat, and then he goes back in there and grabs the machete and then cuts the rope or whatever because the boat was getting torn apart. So
like, untie the cleats. He's gonna tear off the hull.
Yeah, and then another shot that I like is he takes the machete and like throws it down right on the boat, and it's just like this shot of the machete going into the wood, and the water is just like reflective and it's so calm. I don't know, it's just a cool looking shot.
Yeah, the shots that Steven Spielberg had in this fucking film were amazing.
Yeah, especially for a young director, man. Like you would
Especially
think,
since everything went wrong. Like,
yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, he thought it was going to be a disaster and he was never going to get work again, and it turned into one of the biggest films of his career, and it was the beginning of his career. So like, it's just nothing. Like, to me, like after the success of this film, it's just hard to top it, and he always has, man. Like,
well, I mean, just like there's been like so many iconic movies that when you go back and look at like behind the scenes, all the shit that went down, and some of it's pretty fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like all the shit that happened on the set of Exorcist and shit.
Yeah.
I'm on a blank, but there's a lot of there's like weird shit happens and all that. You know what I mean? Like hell, even like down to like the Crow and Brandon Lee getting killed, and there was some shit I think on Poltergeist as well. You know, hell, fucking Rust. You know, fuck up shit happens all the time. So like you don't really, you know, hell, I mean, one of the biggest fuck ups in Hollywood was Twilight Zone. You know, where 3 people, 2 children and a man were fucking killed by a helicopter, beheaded because of a fuck up. You know, and it's like, so when you watch certain movies and then you find out like certain things about him, you're like, oh shit, well, that's kind of fucked up. That seems a little bit more serious than we thought, or you know, whatever.
that's what was funny. Like, I watched some other 2 documentaries. I watched the one before, the Inside Story of Jaws, like years ago, and then going back and rewatching that documentary and The Shark Still Works, and then seeing people's like fun facts or whatever, like shorts on YouTube, and then watching them, I'm like, these guys are just making up shit, because half the shit they were talking about, I'm like, I just literally watched them talk about this, like from like the man's mouth, and nothing like what you're just talking about. So like it just makes me wonder. Like that's why I love watching the documentaries and shit on movies.
Oh yeah, same.
You get the real story.
Not only with
the special features.
Yeah.
Not only with the mishaps in the production of this film, another one of the acclaimed stories that came from this production was that there was a murder mystery. I think we talked about it on one of the previous episodes briefly, but it was called the Lady of the Dunes. A woman turned up murdered in, I think, Provincetown, and come to find out she bared a resemblance to one of the extras that was in this film. So a lot of people thought that was her. I think her name was Ruth Marie Terry. And
didn't Spielberg's son do that documentary?
Not Spielberg's son, but Stephen King's son.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a whole other weird little murder mystery thing that's tied to this production and had nothing to do with the film. It was just the fact that this person turned up murdered, and she allegedly is one of the extras in the film. I don't know if it was days or weeks prior. So,
very, very crazy.
They ever find out who killed her?
No.
Where was it
at? She was found in Provincetown.
Where?
It's like right outside Martha's Vineyards.
Yeah, I think somewhere I think it's Rhode Island or Massachusetts. One of the two. I can't remember.
Just trying to think of serial killers around that time that would have been around there.
Maybe.
Never know.
Cousin Danny. Cousin Danny. Big Dick Danny.
Oh.
That one guy.
Who?
But anyway, you don't know him. You've never met.
No.
Strange individual.
Big Dick Danny. I couldn't imagine.
No relation to Big Dick Mitch.
Or Big Dick Dudley.
Okay. We're talking about jaws, not balls.
Yes. We're getting a bit off course here, gentlemen.
You don't know what's going on underneath Michael's raft. Balls.
The movie's called Jaws, not Big Throbbing Hard On.
What?
That's the sequel.
The Veining.
To the second one. Well, once Quint dies, like you see him get eaten, and then like the ship's still going down the boat, and then fucking Brody's just kind of like in a panic, like what the fuck's going on? I'm about to die. So then he's fucking inside the boat, and then Bruce comes through the side of the boat, and then he throws a oxygen tank into his mouth.
As one is to do.
And kind of backs out of the boat, which is weird because then he climbs up the fucking, I don't even know what you would call that thing, the little tower or whatever on top of the boat. And it's slowly going down in the water, and he's got his rifle, and Bruce is on its way. So he looks at Bruce, and he can see somehow from a far distance away that he has this oxygen tank in his mouth still.
The tank.
So he starts shooting at it. Then he finally hits it, and the shark's head blows up.
Smile, you son of a...
At that time, he's relieved because he's not going to get eaten by this 25-foot shark.
I mean, naturally.
And then at that time, you see Hooper earlier swim out and go under this, behind these rocks whenever his cage is getting fucked. And so then you're just kind of waiting for him to pop back up, and then he pops back up, and he's like, what about Quint? And he's like, he didn't make it. So they're like, well, I guess we'll fucking swim our ass back to town.
He actually doesn't look too upset about that either. He's got kind of a smirk on his face, like, what about Quint? He's like, He's like,
well, they're smirking because they know that they got the shark. You know, it's like, all right, we got him and we survived. And then he's like, Quint. He's like, no. And you know, if the mayor was standing right there, he would have a collective sigh with the other town's council because they don't have to pay him $10,000 now.
I'd be if I was those two, I'd be like, hey, all that money goes to us now. Fuck you guys. That's what I'd be like.
I mean, you got to pay his little mate. That I figured the little guy would have been on the ship with him though, like because he had that little buddy that would like help him out or whatever.
Tattoo.
Little buddy.
Nah, I mean, I don't know, the dirty guy with the orange hat.
The plane, boss, the plane.
Who?
Huh?
Who was his name?
No, I'm just talking about Tattoo and Mr. Rourke.
Oh.
The plane, boss, the plane.
No, but then I just want to know how far out they were.
Far out.
Because they swim back in on like a piece of the ship with those 2 fucking barrels keeping them afloat. Then they're just kicking their asses all the way back to shore.
But well, I don't think they're too far because even whenever you see,
I mean, you can see part of the island whenever they're out there.
You see when Quint's trying to like full throttle, trying
It
to
doesn't look that
bring
far
his heart
away.
back in. What's that?
It doesn't look that far away from them when they're doing
No, I mean it probably is if you're swimming it, but you know it's not like you're all the way stranded out in the middle.
It could be that Vegas projection though, or you're like fucking 20 miles away and it looks like it's 3 steps down the street.
True.
Yeah, it was probably a long ass swim.
Very misleading.
Or you know, with them being like we said, you could see the shore. I'm wondering if maybe somebody saw the explosion, was like, hey, you know, that's where they are at.
It's quite possible, but
because fucking Quint had a fucking meltdown, and whenever he saw Brody trying to call into the Coast Guard, and just took the bat and smashed the radio, he's like, nope, this is I'm getting this shark. This fish is mine.
Well, then it's like earlier before that too, whenever fucking Ellen calls just to check on him, and then he's like, "Yeah, patch her through," and he's like, "Oh, we're doing fine. We're out here. He's tied into a marlin. We'll be back by dinner," and he just kind of like hangs up on her. Like, that shit cracks me up. It's like, "Yep, no, fuck you. We're leaving. Bye." But I don't know. Like, I love this fucking movie. Like, I probably watch it way more than I should. Because I guarantee I probably watch it every few months. Like every 3 to 4 months, I'll end up watching this movie. And then anymore, I end up just watching this one and the 4th one. Like the sequels weren't great, unfortunately.
Yeah. I had the second one on earlier just playing in the background. I'm just like, man, this is basically the first film all over again. I go, nobody believe, Brody is talking about a shark. Nobody believes it. Nobody wants to, deal with it. And
right. Like you would think that they would believe him because the mayor's still the same mayor.
Yeah.
Like still Mayor Larry Vaughn.
Yeah.
Played by Murray Hamilton. Like.
Yeah, we talked about the music. Let's talk about that poster, man. That's one of the best posters in cinema history, I believe.
Iconic.
That is a great poster. I have the blanket back here hanging on my wall.
Like that's another thing again. It's so simple, but so effective.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's got the
I think that's my favorite movie poster.
I mean, it's just simple, it's clean. Universal came back out with the ride this year.
It's like everybody's worst nightmare right there.
That's a fun one too. If you ever gone to Universal Studios and seen when Jaws pops out of the water.
That right. Actually, that's a thing in Mallrats too, isn't it?
Yeah, he was going to propose to her.
Yeah. Okay, it's all making sense
I
now.
ever heard of.
Basically, Kevin Smith is just taken Jaws and used it to make his career now.
Well, he even says in interviews and shit, he'll be like, I pretty much rip everybody else off and then I make my shit.
Yeah.
True.
Just throw it in there.
That's kind of what we do anyway.
But no, it's fun. Universal, man. They have the whole tour and everything like that, and then they come across like a little area. At least the one out in Hollywood. I can't remember if I went to the one down in Florida, but one out in Hollywood. They have like this little area where it's like there's fire going on and everything like that, and then all of a sudden, the shark comes right up next to your tram. It's pretty fun.
Wasn't there like an accident or something happened originally, and that's why they originally took it away? There was some kind of accident or something where somebody actually fell in and actually got hurt by the animatronic or something.
Maybe.
Or something like
remember.
that.
I remember hearing something to that effect, but I don't think they got like killed or anything like that. It was just like
No, they just got
kid
injured.
that was like leaning over the thing and fell in or something. I don't know. But yeah, definitely worth checking out if you ever go to Universal. Take the tour.
That's the gist of Jaws. Anything you guys like? Anything like any of your favorite scenes or anything that we talked about whenever we were kind of doing the walkthrough there? Is there anything that we didn't really hit on that you wanted to talk about? I know Chuck said like one of the most memorable scenes is definitely whenever they're in the hall, like just wrapping it up and talking some shit and singing and drinking.
Yeah. No, let me say this though when it comes down to Jaws, because we've talked about it before how I prefer Piranha. Let me say this: rewatching this movie last night, I end up finding a new love for it every time I watch it. Like I don't watch it for like a long period of time. Well, I don't watch it for periods of time. And every time I do watch it, I'm like, oh, you know what? This is a pretty damn good movie. And I still say that in a lot of ways, I'd rather watch Piranha. But Jaws is a much better movie in so many on so many levels.
It came out way earlier.
Doesn't fucking matter. But no, I actually do love this movie. Didn't care for it at all when I was a kid, but
I love this movie.
Well, because when I was a kid, like everybody was talking about, because like I didn't go to the beach. We don't have a beach, you know what I mean? Like I was never really near any kind of like ocean except for like a couple of occasions in my life when I was younger. We'd go visit like, in Virginia and different places, Texas and all that. But like, it was never scary to me. The idea of a shark attacking me was never a fear. It's still not a fear. But that's also because I'm terrified of water and I won't go that fucking goddamn close to it now.
Yeah, before I die, I want to get into a Shark Tank.
You're insane.
I ended up doing that whenever I was out in Hawaii.
You did that?
Yep. I mean, they're not great white sharks that are out there. But the thing was, like, the tide was really choppy that day. So we're like hanging on to the cage and you're just getting thrashed. Like I felt like I got the shit kicked out of me the next day. Because I'm just getting, I got a video of it somewhere because I had a little GoPro going or whatever, but I'm just getting thrashed off this cage, this metal cage, and it whipped me around pretty good. But it was cool being able to go under there. It reminded me of the scene with Hooper in the cage, and I'm like, this is so cool to actually go under the water and see the sharks swimming around and everything like that. And I definitely recommend it. Obviously, it's probably a lot better if the tide and the current isn't as stiff. But it was definitely a cool experience.
No, I actually thought that was always kind of a cool thing. Even though I'm terrified of water, I'm terrified of the ocean, I'm terrified of the deep. We don't know what all is down there. It's terrifying. But I was like, hey, the cages, they do that shit, and like it's stable. They make sure you're good, you're safe, whatever. And then 48 meters down, fucked that up for me. And now I will never, ever, ever, ever get in one of those things, ever. Because I don't like the idea of sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And I don't like the idea of dying that way. Nope, I'm good. I'm a land creature. Chuck Nasty is a land creature. Has been known to be seen in water on occasions, usually in the shower. Beaches, cool. Have fun. Have a great time. I'm not wanting to be there. Fuck that shit. Sand's too goddamn hot, burns my fucking feet. And if I get out in the water, something might sting me, bite me, or eat me. So, yeah, I will stay right here on my fucking couch and be good and safe.
You're actually 3,000 times more likely to drown than be attacked by a shark.
Yep, all of it scares me.
That is a true number. And, like, oddly enough, every year...
True statement.
Every year in the world, there's only a handful of shark attacks that lead to death. So it's a very uncommon thing. You know, you would think, watching this film, he's getting at people left and right, but that doesn't happen in real life. You know, they're like if you go and look at the numbers, it's like, I think like 2024, there was only like 6 or 7 people that got killed by a shark. So
see, I fucking love sharks. Like I love those movies. Like every year I fucking watch Shark Week from like the time it starts until like September because I'm trying to watch every fucking thing that they put out. And there's so much shit put out anymore on Shark Week. Like it's almost impossible to watch it all. And I don't know. Like I would definitely like to go swim with sharks.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. And this film, it's crazy to think that it's like 50 years old because you watch it and it doesn't feel like it's 50 years old.
Right.
The practical effects, despite all the issues they had with the production and dealing with Bruce the shark, it comes out pretty good. It's pretty seamless for the most part. There's a little couple things here and there where you like notice it, but it's not that major of a deal. And like I've always said, whenever it comes to practical effects, I always enjoy those more than anything. Like if you watch like The Meg and all these other bullshit films where the sharks CGI or the creatures CGI, it's just not the same. Whenever you see that shark jump up on the boat and you see Robert Shaw going down into its actual mouth, like there's nothing that can replicate that. You can do whatever AI or fucking CGI bullshit you want to do, but
that seems amazing.
That looks it looks incredible. So
you can actually hear like the crunching of his ribs and shit whenever he bites down.
Yeah.
So it like I said earlier, it's such a simple story, but it's so effective. And not only with the music from John Williams, the cinematography, the directing of Steven Spielberg, all these great actors. Everybody does a great job. There's nobody that you're like, oh, this guy sucks. Everything just comes together perfectly in this film, and I think that's a testament to it being such an iconic classic. It's one of those ones that is just going to go on forever, and people are always going to recognize it as the shark film of all time.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just want to comment because something you said earlier, talking about how there's not that many shark deaths that go on or whatever. I think there's actually more alligator and crocodile related deaths that go on a year. But there's an overabundance of alligators. You know what I mean? That are around people all the time. And for the most part, sharks will stay away from a lot of people. They won't.
I want to watch Lake Placid.
Ah, yeah. That's a favorite. If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it. Love Betty White. I'm trying to think of the perfect book idea to where that will just be the quote at the beginning of it. It's just too good of a quote. But yeah, no. And Crawl's another good one. But yeah, no. This movie's a fucking classic. I mean, it really is. I mean, even though like I don't really have a real fear of sharks. It does. The shark embodies the idea of the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Of what
That's why I'm kind of glad that Bruce didn't work, just because you get that mental, like the imagination of just the shark being present.
Yeah.
It's freaky enough. Like I think that if they would actually have had Bruce working all the time to where he would be functional for a whole day, and they used him more, I don't think it'd be as powerful.
Right. The psychological tension is definitely there. I've seen this film so many times, And even like, just watching it back, like whenever Hooper's down there in the cage, like I felt myself getting like tense. I'm like, oh, I know that he survives, but it's still one of those things where, it's just being down in the water and not knowing what's going on. Like,
Right.
The shark could come in from behind you, from the side, anywhere, and just completely take you off guard. It's one of those things that's very real. And if you've ever been in the water, like I was down at Virginia Beach one time, and we're swimming, and whatever, if you see a fin come out of the water, it might be a fucking dolphin, but you're probably gonna fucking hightail it back to shore.
It might be a
Yes,
fucking shark.
You're probably still shitting your pants.
If it's not, then we got a problem. But yeah, if you see a fin come out of the water, no matter where you are, it's like, automatic red flag where you're just like, okay, it's fucking Jaws.
That goes in your pants.
That goes back to what I was saying about what I've said about piranha, is the fact of, with a shark you get a possible warning, and with piranhas you really don't, and also the fact of, if there is a shark attacking, if there's like one big shark attacking like a group of people, you might have a chance to get away. But if you have a whole school of fucking, hungry piranha, they're going to go after everybody, and they're going to get you a whole lot quicker than that shark is at times. So, like, to me, I mean, Jaws is terrifying, but to me, piranhas are 10 times more terrifying.
Well, I'm sure.
I mean,
I think they would be too, like face to face, because like I said, watching Shark Week and shit, there's plenty of times where like they're actually swimming with a school of sharks. And then, like, one will start swimming towards him, and they'll just kind of, like, push his nose, and he'll turn around and swim the other way.
Yeah. And piranhas will be like, hey, guys.
Nope.
Yeah. Like, hey, guys, over here.
Like, at that point.
If you know what you're doing, you can kind of outmaneuver him. Even like the part where, once the cage gets broken and Hooper swims down, he's probably the safest one out of everyone, because he just, the shark isn't going to go all the way down to the bottom. And he's got that tank he can hide down in the seaweed or whatever on the bottom of the
sharks
floor.
don't stop moving.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest problem with piranhas is when you get the flying ones. When you get the flying piranhas, that's a whole other story. That an invasive species.
Well, the same can be said about sharks. Whenever there's a Sharknado,
right?
There's no escaping it. Even on land, it's crazy.
Clownado.
Yep.
Anytime, during the summer, Uncle Roman tries to take us out on Suck My Wake, and goddamn, we got to deal with sharks out there. Go back on land, we got to deal with Big Bear chasing me. It's like I can't kind of catch a break.
That's also all joking aside, that's also what's actually really good about movies like this, that where the villain, if you will, is an animal, because because they're just going on instinct. You can reason with, possibly reason with a killer or whatever the fuck, but reasoning with a shark isn't going to do you any good. Reasoning with a cobra isn't going to do you any good. Reasoning with
Cocaine bear,
a bear on cocaine. Even just let's be honest. Okay. Like, in all honesty, like, the bear on cocaine wasn't alive long enough after, but it would probably be terrifying. Which I love that movie a lot.
It's funny. It's good shit.
It's a good one.
I will say, from all the stories I heard about Bruce breaking during the film, like the production of this film, one of the best ones was like, because they like had to redo everything with like the hydraulics and air hoses and shit inside the shark. Because once it was working, then once they put it in the salt water would just fuck it all up. So they had to go back in and seal everything. And then George Lucas was walking around, and he was like trying to get a look and see how they did shit or whatever. So then he walked over and like shoved his head like inside the mouth and was like looking inside there. And Spielberg was like, yeah, I'm going to go over here and fuck with him. So he went to close the shark jaw. Whenever it did, it broke. So he was actually responsible for it not working the one day. He was trying to fucking eat George Lucas with the jaws.
Hey, if you put a fucking Star Wars in it.
Man, imagine if that could have went sideways, man. If
no Star Wars?
he went to mess with George Lucas, and the thing malfunctioned and actually decapitates George Lucas, and we don't get Star Wars.
It was probably Steven Spielberg's actual idea. He was like, I know all of his ideas. I'm just gonna make this happen right now. You know, there's all kinds of weird conspiracies when it comes down to Steven Spielberg, but I won't even get into all that right now. But you never know. You never know. But I don't really give a fuck about Star Wars anyway, so whatever.
Hey.
George Lucas. Hey guys, man, shut up.
It always reminds me of that Clerks animated cartoon whenever he's like, they're in court or whatever, and then Jay's like talking shit to all these directors, and he's like, I want my $8 back or whatever. I know Randall is. And then he's talking about George Lucas, and he's like, where's my $8? He's like, well, what about Jar Jar? And he's like, well, my daughter thought that.
The animated Clerks was fucking great. I've actually got a VHS with all those on there somewhere.
Yeah, that shit's too good. All right, well, that wraps up Jaws for this evening.
50 years.
50 years.
Happy birthday,
crazy, man. Happy birthday,
Happy
Bruce.
birthday.
Living on for eternity.
Congratulations, Spielberg, for toughing this shit out, not getting fired and getting fired numerous times and not quitting. Like, he's a trooper, man. Like, this definitely is the film that turned him into the legend he is today. It was the one of many films. It was just the start of an empire.
Yeah, because then after
Nobody ever would have thunk it.
2 years after this, he does Close Encounters with Dreyfus.
Mhm.
Right.
That
So crazy.
That relationship continues after this film.
Yeah, he fucking kills it after this.
Legends, man, legends.
Yeah. I'll wait for Chuck to get back before we end up doing the clip.
Well, I guess it's crazy to think about, but Joel's held the #1 spot that whole summer.
Makes sense.
I think June to September, it hit, not just in the top 10, #1 that whole summer. No movie will ever do that again.
No. And that's why it started the summer blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And
This movie changed everything, man.
And we'd be remiss to not talk about the Nintendo game of Jaws.
Whoa.
Fuck that game.
Oh yeah, fuck that game. I remember that game.
Fucking asshole. I don't know how many times we
But
played
I couldn't
that
stop. I couldn't stop. It's
We
like,
couldn't.
I got to beat it. I hate
You
this
alright?
game, but I got to beat it.
Now you know how Quint was.
shit.
Gotta get
That
this
game
motherfucker.
pissed me, Dave, and our friend Gary off.
I think
so
a whole
many
generation got pissed off. Anyway,
Yeah.
times. Such bullshit.
That
All
and
right,
Friday the
so let's
13th.
jump into our clip of the week. Then we'll run some ads. Then we'll see what Chuck's got planned for next week, and then we'll get the flock out of here.
all right.
I like it. 37.
In a row.
Generator.
I know what I'm watching, man. Yeah, partner with
I
Well,
hate
Peace
it.
out.
Jesus Christ. Where the fuck did this shit come up with this?
Yeah,
Now I want lasagna.
come on, lasagna.
Right.
Lasagna.
Oh, now I have to fucking find that shit. That's too good.
What is
All right, let's run some ads right quick. Get these 9 people in the way.
Hey everybody, Laser Trading Company is on YouTube. See some of the videos from Mike's travels and experiences. If you haven't already, please head over and subscribe. 7,800 and growing. Thank you all. Laser Trading Company is also available on eBay with various merchandise and collectibles. Hundreds of great gift ideas. That's Laser Trading Company. Laser Trading Company. Laser Trading Company. You know him from Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, Nasty Nation, Graveyard Talk, and the Video Store Clerks Podcast. He is the creator of Stoner Gore, Jack Nasty! And if you're looking for the latest in extreme horror, head over to Amazon.com, look up Chuck Nasty, and the following titles are available. along with the latest album, Decay of Man, from Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube now.
Along with
Twisted Eyeball Juice. A great collection of stories that will make you laugh, make you puke, make you gag, but most of all, entertain you. The Rocking Chair, a lovely novella that I wrote for another for an anthology, and yeah, I really enjoy that one a lot. And it goes to show you that anything can be evil and sadistic, even
he drowned.
your grandfather's rocking chair.
He got ate by the shark.
Get out of the water. Please, hurry. There's a shark. Get out.
Those your newest books are on my list to add.
Oh, good.
I still don't have the last two.
Yeah,
It's Cthulhu.
Yeah. The masturbating bear. What the hell happened to him?
Jesus!
That's not a bear.
Oh! Oh! Oh my God! Shark! Guys, there's a shark! Ah! Ah! I gotta get
Excuse
out of
me,
here.
management. I think our neighbor has an illegal animal in his
What are we doing next week?
Chuck, I know you had an idea of what we're doing.
I had an
I just wanna
idea.
see if we're still doing that.
Yeah. It Follows. Very underrated film, I think. It has an interesting take on possession and being haunted by something. Basically, it's a paranormal STD film.
Ah, fucking great.
As Mike splashes shit on his face when I said that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I gotta get out.
So here you have it. 50th anniversary of Jaws. Next week, It Follows.
Oh my God! Oh my God! It's a shark! Oh God!
We are your clerks. And we will we will see you next Tuesday.